Hello, and welcome to the new episode of Who and When Invented by Raza's Library. Let's have a look what we got today to share with you. Let's start with number 1. Stone tool. The best materials include obsidian, a form of natural glass, chert, flint, and chalcedony. Quote by Floyd Largent, a writer. The very first human invention consisted of sharp flints, found and used in their natural state by primitive peoples, who then went on to purposely sharpen stones. The practice reaches back to the very dawn of humankind. Stone tools found in 1969 in Kenya are estimated to be 2,600,000 years old. The principal types of tools, which appeared in the Paleolithic period, and varied in size and appearance, are known as core, flake, and blade tools. The core tools are the largest and most primitive, and were made by working on a fist-sized piece of rock or stone, core, with a similar rock, hammerstone, and knocking large flakes off one side to produce a sharp crest. This was a general-purpose implement used for hacking, pounding, or cutting. Eventually, thinner and sharper core tools were developed, which were more useful. Much later, especially during the last 10,000 years of the Stone Age, other techniques of producing stone artifacts, including pecking, grinding, sawing, and boring, came into play. The evolution of tool making enabled early humankind to complete many tasks previously impossible or accomplished only very crudely. Animals could be skinned, defleshed, and the meat divided up with stone cutters, cleavers, and choppers. Clothing was made from animal hides cleaned with rough stone scrapers and later punctured with awls. Hunting became more efficient with spearheads fashioned from stone flakes. And with the aid of stone adzes, axes, early humankind could create shelter and begin to shape the physical world to its liking. Number 2. Controlled fire. Seek wood already touched by fire. It is not then so very hard to set alight. An African proverb. Fire is an essential tool, control of which helped to start the human race on its path to civilization. The original source of fire was probably lightning, and for generations blazes ignited in this manner remained the only source of fire. Initially Peking man, who lived around 500,000 BCE, was believed to be the earliest user of fire, but evidence uncovered in Kenya in 1981 and in South Africa in 1988 suggests that the earliest controlled use of fire by hominids dates from about 1,420,000 years ago. Fires were kept alive permanently because of the difficulty of reigniting them, being allowed to burn by day and damp down at night. Flint struck against parites or friction methods were the most widespread methods of producing fire among primitive people. The first human beings to control fire used it to keep warm, cook their food, and ward off predators. It also enabled them to survive in regions previously too cold for human habitation. They also used it in fire drives to force animals or enemies out of hiding. Controlled fire was important in clearing forest for roadways, grasslands for grazing, and agricultural lands. Uncontrolled, the fire destroyed the potential of the soil. Mastering fire also opened up the possibilities of smelting metals, enabling humankind to escape the limitations of the Stone Age. Number 3. Built shelter. Next to agriculture, shelter is the most necessary to man. One must eat, one must have shelter. Said by Philip Johnson, an architect. The earliest evidence for built shelter appears to have been constructed by Homo heidelbergensis, who lived in Europe between around 800,000 BCE and 200,000 BCE. Anthropologists are uncertain whether these were ancestors of Homo sapiens, humans, or Homo neanderthalensis, Neanderthals, or both. At the French site of Terra Amida, which dates back around 400,000 years, archaeologists have found what they believe to be the foundations of large oval huts. One of these shows evidence of fire in a hearth, although other archaeologists postulate that natural processes could be responsible. Archaeology on sites from hundreds of thousands of years ago is complicated. Claims of the discovery of built shelters in Japan from more than 500,000 years ago were discredited in 2000. In fact, all evidence for humans in Japan before 35,000 years ago is currently questionable. We do know that our ancestors spent time in caves for hundreds of thousands of years. But caves are only found in certain areas. Whether they started building 100,000 or 400,000 years ago, their ability to create shelters close to food, water, and other resources provided our ancestors with protection against the elements and dangerous animals. Living close to work also gave them more time to experiment with different ways of doing things, in other words, time to invent. What are your thoughts on this information? If you liked it, please like and comment. If you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are watching on any meta platforms like Facebook or Instagram, please follow for more videos. See you with more interesting video next time.